الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His help, and we ask for His forgiveness. Whoever Allah guides, He can misguide, and whoever Allah sends astray, He can guide. My dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic of tonight is the role of reviving the Masjid's role in Australia. Or in other words, what is exactly the role of a Masjid, a mosque, in a country like Australia, in a Western society? This is what we are going to discuss inshallah tonight, and I will open the floor before Salatul Isha that we can inshallah share information with you. Why should we discuss the role of the Masjid? Let me answer this and say that the Masjid in the past, history of Islam, since the beginning of Islam, Masjid or the mosque played the prime role in the Muslim society. In fact, the Masjid was really the everything in the society. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Masjid was for ibadah, for praying five times salat, the other prayers of the night, tarawih prayers and so on. It was a place of ibadah, it was a place of fatwa. The people came and asked Rasulullah ﷺ. It was a place of Majlis al-Harb, committee of war, of engaging to war. Prophet ﷺ meets up the ministers, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the Sahaba, and decides things related to the state. It was also the parliament itself, it was the Senate. The Masjid was everything, was playing the main role in the Muslims' war and the Muslims' life. Along the way, the society has developed, and the Masjid also has developed its skills. And we can see, for example, in the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Masjid has kept the same role as the main, the heart, along with other new institutions, like the institution of Al-Hisbah, the institution of Al-Qada, the institution of Tijara, of business trades, that Umar radiallahu ta'ala installed, the institution of al-tawriq, or writing and documentation, that Umar also established. This is when the state has grown and became also, bigger, and the commitments were getting bigger. Now, when we come to Western society, when we come to, for example, Australia, where we live here, we wonder what is the role of the Masjid. Because we need to know that really we give this institution the role that is due to it. A role that has to take it. Because, my dear brothers, as I said at the beginning, the Masjid at the time of Rasulullah was everything, right? Is the Masjid today playing the main role in our society here in Perth? Is the Masjid here that we have in Australia, is it doing what is needed to be done for our community? We need to find out. We need to find out, because that we don't fall into two main holes, two main mistakes. Number one, either overburdening the Masjid, giving the Masjid, the mosque, more roles, more jobs, more duties that will overburden it. At the same time, undermining the role of the Masjid. Because indeed we find some communities, what they establish is just the masjid. They believe that the masjid has to play the same role as the role of the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ time. It has to be the fatwa, the counseling, the youth, problems, everything has to be in the masjid. While we find other communities, the masjid is not there anymore. They have just other institutions. They rely to solve the problems and to fulfill the needs of the community based on different institutions. Youth institutions, women support institutions, and so on and so on. Do you get the picture? Did you get what I want? We need to find out what is the role of the masjid in our community. Because, my dear brothers, we live in a society which is, in most, and I don't say in most, in many of its values, it contradicts the values of the Muslim and Islamic teachings. But me and you will find ourselves that, where do you live Islam? Either you live it in these four walls, a musalla, a masjid like this, or you live it in your home. Right? Between the masjid where you pray 5 times a day, and between the home, nothing. You go from your home, this is where you did set up your own Islamic values, right? You jump to the masjid, between the masjid and the home there is no values that you've been wanting for yourself and your children. Am I right? Or you find some values when you go to Carousel and Westfield, right? Or Royal Show. No, we don't. We need to understand that between your home and between the masjid, we need something to support the role of the masjid. This is which is missing in our life. It's why we are suffering. Say, for example, my dear brothers, I come today to you to a lecture, listening to this lecture. I have a family problem. I have a divorce problem. Whom can I speak to? Whom can I call to solve my problem with my wife? I have a problem with my son. He brings his girlfriend to the house, and he insists to bring her in the house. I have a problem. Where can I go to? Right? The only way, I can go to the kuffar, the non-Muslim institutions, and they will deal with me as anyone else. And they will deal with us with their own values, with their own system. And here where we are lost. Are you with me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. This is what I'm saying, my dear brothers. Between your home, which must be Muslim Islamic home, not a cultural Muslim home. I have given this khutbah today about being a Muslim in Australia, not being Arab or Malaysian or Indonesian or Somali or whatever in this country. You need to be a Muslim. Number one, a Muslim. Therefore, to safeguard our values as Muslims and to be able to promote the values of Islam to non-Muslim society and to stand up on our feet and carry the flag of salvation to this humanity in this part of the world, and to carry the torch, being the torch bearers in Islam, we have to understand what Islam stands for. We have to build our community upon Islam, not upon culture. The culture of Allah in the world. Whatever culture you may have, Arab culture, Somali culture, Turkish culture, Indonesian culture, Malay, whatever, just name it, Pakistani, Indian, whatever, cannot stand against the Western culture. The only thing that can stand against the big wave that is coming in front of me and you is Islam. How much you may think yourself you are clever and smart with your own cultural values, you cannot stand against this culture. Just take it as it is and don't deceive yourself. Coming back, my dear brothers, we need to create alternative for the masjid. The masjid must remain always the hub, play the main role. But we need to feed the masjid with other institutions to support the masjid. Now the masjids in Australia, I'm talking in general, right? Even this place where we are sitting. What is it? What role this place is giving to the community? Praying 5 times salah. Am I right? Just the brother comes, says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They pray, Assalamu alaikum, Kif halak akhi, how are you, brother? Assalamu alaikum, bye bye. What is the imam who can resolve the problems? What are the values that we carry as Muslims that we want to promote in this community, that we are really working and discussing about them? We can move outside of this place and promote them. Therefore, we need to revive, first of all, the role of the masjid, the role of the imam, and the role of the musallis, those who come to the masjid. By the way, my dear brothers, how much, if you come 5 times salah, if you come 5 times salah here, how much time do you spend in the masjid? Each salah? 15 minutes? Yeah? 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, right? 5 times salah. If everyone, does everyone come 5 times salah? Allah, yeah. Okay. If everyone comes 5 times salah, by the way, many of the brothers don't pray in the masjid. This is the biggest mistake. Do your best to pray in the masjid. Your utmost best to pray in the masjid. Even Salatul Fajr only. If you can't, for example, we are busy during the day, studying, working, whatever. Pray Salatul Fajr in the masjid. If not Salatul Isha, pray in the masjid. Connect yourself to the masjid. Most of our problems as individuals because we don't connect to the masjid. So if every one of us prays in the masjid 5 times salah, how much time do you spend in the masjid? About 1 hour out of 24 hours. About. How much time do you spend checking your mail and your SMS and your social media, whatever, right? How much time do you spend? How much time do you spend sleeping? By the way, those people in Perth sleep a lot. So many have Maghrib at 6 o'clock, I think, right? And they have Fajr at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock. You have 12 hours midnight time. Right? The town shuts down about 8 o'clock, I believe, right? Still 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Right? Everything is off. Even sometimes the electricity is off. Brother Amar got his electricity off yesterday. Right? People have you have a lot of time. You have really a lot of time to spend with your family, with yourself. Is this time productive? So you spend, out of 24 hours, you spend 1 hour in the masjid. That if you pray 5 times a day in the masjid. And I'm sure most of us don't pray 5 times a day in the masjid. Am I right? That's a fact. But I'm saying if you do pray 5 times a day in the masjid, you have 1 hour in the masjid. Alhamdulillah, fine. Out of 1 hour, 1 hour of 24 hours. Therefore, we need to understand that if you spend much time watching TV, if you spend much time playing games, if you spend more time, doing things which they are not really appropriate for you, they will affect your life. Right? So indeed, this is a fact. Out of 24 hours, you have only 1 hour in the masjid. Right? That's if we are praying 5 times a day in the masjid. My dear brothers, to save our community here, we need to work hard to create institutions to support the role of the masjid. The role of the masjid in this land is different than the role of the masjid in a Muslim land. The role of the masjid in this land has to be supported by many institutions which will give it the real support to play the main role that Islam wanted from the masjid. Is it clear? And this job is not the job of one person. It is the role of every one of you. Because unfortunately, we think always that it's the sheikh's job. It's that association job to do and to install something for us. Right? Why they don't have this? Why don't they have something for the youth? Why don't they have something for the women? Why don't they have something for our elders? Do you know we have many elders in our community? Do you know what? We don't have one Muslim organization to take care of the Muslim elders. Do you know that? You know that? We are sending them and throwing them to the non-Muslims. And by the way, when I say this, it doesn't mean everything that the non-Muslims are doing are wrong. No, I'm saying they have values, but not all the values that they have correspond to the Islamic or the Muslim values. Then we need to set up something. Why can't we have, I don't know, Muslim ambulance? Why? Why can't we have Muslim youth center that really deal with the problem of the youth? You know what the youth need, really? You know what the youth need? They need a place to hang out, to be in a place that they can really mingle with other youth. That's what the youth need. And they say, as they say in English, you need a place to kick it, right? Just to kick it. Just to get out that energy, that power, that, you know, that thing which they have in. We've been all through this age, alhamdulillah. We have a lot of power. We need to get it out. They need a place where they can hang on and really mingle and mix with other youth. That's what they need. Did we provide that for them? Did we? I'm telling you, in Perth, no. We have this point, but it's not really fulfilling the need of our youth. I'm telling you. There are some, alhamdulillah, some other brothers and sisters doing little projects, but are these enough for our youth? No. We need special education for our youth too. Support education for them. We need a lot of projects, we need a lot of really institutions to protect our identity as Muslims in the West. Because we all complain, my dear brothers. So, unfortunately, we all tend to complain. Nashki, we just complain. Now, we don't have this, we don't have that. Look at masjid, look at center, look at group, look at one, la 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 la. But what have you done yourself to support those institutions, which they are on the ground? What have you done by supporting that masjid or supporting that markaz or center? What have you done? Did you come and offer your services? Say, my dear brother, you go to the imam. Say, Imam, look, I can do this and this for the Muslim community. Right? I would like to serve our Muslim community. Have you done that in your life? Do you think you'll be saved if you lock the doors on yourself and your family and say, Alhamdulillah, I'm going to sit here and stay here for 2, 3, 5, 6 years and then going back home? You'll not be safe, man. Because the wave of the non-Muslim values is much bigger than you can resist or I can resist. My dear brothers. Many people complain too and they say we are minority. We can't do much, right? In Perth we are about, maybe, if I'm not wrong, you may correct me, 2.5% of the whole population in Perth. Right? To 3% of WA population. And many people say, oh, we can't do anything really. We can't really change, we can't make the change. Do you know what? All the people in history, since the time of Adam until the time of Muhammad, they were minority at the beginning. You want me to add you something too? All the scholars in history, since the time of the four Imams, Malik, Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Ahmad, and so on, and all the Imams. All that hard work been done when the Muslims were minority in that place. Imam al-Bukhari was from Bukharistan. Do not think that the Muslims went and invaded those lands and became all Muslims. No. The ruler became Muslim, the power became Muslim, but the majority of the people remain non-Muslims. It took the Muslims more than 300 years for Persia and those areas to convey the message to all the people. Initially, the Muslims were minority, as so was in North Africa, in Egypt. When Amr ibn al-As conveyed Islam to Egyptians, the Muslims were minority. Do not think that they were, mashallah, they invaded or said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, Allahu Akbar. No. It's just few people convert to Islam. Minority. And they start working on them, year after year. After 200 years, the Muslims became majority in Egypt. Do not undermine the power that you have as a Muslim. Do not undermine that you are the follower of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do not undermine that Allah is with you. Do you need more than that? Allah, the power of the powers, is with you. If you be with Him. Allah has said in His book, وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Therefore, my dear brothers, if you may feel you are minority, if you may feel you are just a couple of few thousands of people in the midst of more than 1 million people here, for example, you really, if you work hard, if you try to create these institutions and play a really major role here with the masjids, we will make the change. We will be able really to make the change. Because the change does not come from nowhere. We shouldn't wait for Jibreel or one of the angels to come and reveal to us a new book or new messenger, say, mashallah, you are all. No, my dear ones. We have the book. If you haven't seen it yet, the book is here. Al-Quran is here. We have it. We have the revelation. We have the guidance. And we have the roadmap. What we need to do is to have the courage. To have the courage to stand up. To have the will to go and work. To have the will to decide, let's make the change. This is what we need to do. We should stop being spineless. We should stop being people who rely on others to do the job for them. Because wallah, when the time of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of destruction comes, it's not going to escape. No one of us is going to escape that. And will not be the blame on anyone except yourself. My dear brothers, let us remember that the people who came before us, if they didn't really work hard to establish the foundations in this land, we will not be able to be and sitting in this place and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people who came 20, 30, 40 years in this land and work hard to establish masjids, to establish Islamic schools, to establish Islamic centers, they worked hard to do that. It wasn't an easy thing. Why don't we do something for the future generation? Why don't we try to fill the gap and create those institutions? Why always we sit back and criticize? We should change and shift our mind. I remember at one stage that I was with my father here in Perth. And I think I was pointing out to the problems. This is maybe back 15 years ago. And we were discussing about the problems in our community, many problems we have in the community. Then I was pointing to myself, I was pointing to some, downfalls, some of the issues that other groups, other, ideologies are causing our community. When he looked at me, he said, my son, when you point out to someone with your hand, and you say, this is the wrong, I say to my brother, you are the wrong person, right? He said to me, look at the finger you have pointed to your brother, right? And look at the 3 fingers being pointed to yourself. Before you point your finger to your brother, ask yourself more than 3 times. What was my role? What was my duty? What was my really place, my position in that problem? Before pointing out, they say, that association is causing a problem. That leader is causing a problem. That masjid is causing a problem. Let me ask myself what I have done to resolve the problem. Maybe I am the problem itself. Maybe I am the problem, but I don't realize. Let me sit with myself and say, what can I do to play a role in resolving the problems? My dear brothers, I will end this by saying we need to activate the role of the masjid in Australia. We need to support the role of the masjid in this place by creating resources, by putting all the resources that we have and support the role of the masjid, the role of our Islamic centers, the role of those who are working on the ground, that we can stop at the same time the negative role that others are doing to our community by the name of Islam. There are many organizations by the name of Islam, they are destroying our community. There are many organizations who are doing harm to the Muslims by the name of Islam. And those organizations have nothing to do with the masjid. We get the grant from the government by the name of me and you. Right? They claim they are supporting Muslim families. They claim they are supporting Muslim youth. They claim they are doing something for the refugees. They claim doing this and that by the name of the Muslims. And they have nothing to do with the masjid. When I say the masjid, doesn't mean they have to buy the masjid. Don't misunderstand. Saying they are not connected to the values of the masjid. Because the masjid is not your presence, you come here and pray. No. The masjid is a value system. We learn here how to stand up. We learn here how to obey and submit to Allah behind one leader. We learn here to be organized. By the way, we all stand up in the saf in the room, right? Stand up, all state, alhamdulillah. Yeah? Yes or no? Yes? All we stand up. One next to the other one, and saf, a row after the row. Look to our shoes. Look behind. Allah is teaching us to be organized. Do you think, why do we come in the masjid? Believe me, most of the people who do that, I'm sure they didn't learn this in the masjid. The masjid is not you come and pray Allah, Assalamu alaikum, it is a way of life, it is a system. We all need to reflect, why do we pray? The man who came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, إني لا أفقه من دندنتك ودندنة Mu'adh Shaykh. I don't really understand what you and Mu'adh do and make dua, make many du'as and stuff like that. And what should we do, Ya Rasulullah? He said, I just say to Allah, Ya Allah, give me Jannah. Allow me to enter Jannah. And take me away from the hellfire. That's all. He said, we do the same thing. All this dandan, all this noise that we make, me and Mu'adh, is about this. Simplicity. Going back to the simple life. That man who came to Rasulullah, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I would like just to pray my 5 salats and make my Ramadan and my zakat. If I do that, should I do into Hajj? I'll do the Hajj. If I do that, can I enter Jannah? He said, yes. If you just do this 5, alhamdulillah, you enter Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, أفلح إن صدق. If he was truthful in what he just said, wallahi, we enter Jannah. It is a system. We understood it from some mashayikh in a different way. Because when you come here to the masjid, my dear brother, we all stand up behind one man. What does it mean? What does it mean? In our life system, what does it mean that we have chosen one man? It's an election. We have appointed one man. He's our leader. We need to understand this is the way, the system that works. As human beings, Allah is teaching us. There is one man, you obey him. He says, Allah, say Allah. He says, Sami Allahu liman hamida. We say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. Right? He says, Salamu alaikum. We say, Salamu alaikum. Total obedience. You follow your leader. And if he makes mistake in salah, for example, say, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Maliki Yawmiddin. Say, the one behind him, correct him. Right? Say, no, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Then we learn how to correct each other in the concept of harmony and peace. Have you seen someone praying behind him and say, no, la'natullahi alayk, may Allah curse you. This is the ayah, it should be like this. No. Islam is teaching us to chant the law in peaceful manner, in harmony, understand to respect each other. We stand up all here in one room, and we have to stand up next to each other. We learn here to be organized. You know, my dear brothers, we have a system that regulates our life. And everything starts from the masjid. And when we have forsaken the masjid, we have forsaken our life. We start relying on organizations and institutions which have nothing to do with Islam. And we are getting more problems and more problems and more problems, saying why? And we are the Muslims, we are the chosen people whom we are following Rasulullah, but why do we have all these problems? Because we have forsaken the masjid. You have left the role of the values, the system. See, if the non-Muslim comes today and see that, those shoes there, what do you think he will say? He will say, these people, no way, they live in Australia. That's in Australia. Say, because in Australia we don't do that. You know, one Japanese, by the way, just coming back to the shoes, one Japanese converted to Islam in Japan. I'm not going to tell you anything about Japan, right? It's the country of Toyota, and Nissan, and, Sony, and all the technology is very educated, very really organized way of life. He became Muslim. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And he decided, because most of the community there is a Pakistani community. Then he went to Pakistan to learn Islam. The first thing he went to the masjid, the big masjid, he found a bunch of shoes all around him. He couldn't even go to the masjid because of the shoes. I said, there is no way these people can be following the true Islam. Because he couldn't understand. He said, I don't understand. How could they find a way to organize their shoes? And we see that in most of the Arab countries anyway. Unfortunately, most of the Muslims, you know why? Because we don't understand Islam as a system. We do understand Islam as a culture. We're still not able to understand that Rasulullah ﷺ and the Sahaba didn't have technology, but they had the masjid. They had a system of life that really revived them. Do not forget, otherwise remember, that the Sahaba before Islam, they were barbarian people, unorganized people. And the only thing which has really made a human being thinking, reflecting, understanding, respecting. Because Islam, my dear brothers, it's a religion that shares with other religion many values: compassion, love, respect. You know, many of those universal values we do share as Muslims. The Sahaba understood this. And they understood it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because the teaching was clear. I'm sorry to say this. Many of the teachings that we learn in the Masjid themselves are not right. They really secluded our life from our deen. And that's what happened to our shoes. This is a simple thing in our life that we can't resolve it. Wallahi, it is so simple. We have the brakes. Why don't I, when I come in, I put my brakes in? My shoes in the brakes, say, Alhamdulillah, I don't cause problem to anyone. Prophet ﷺ said, إِمَاتَةُ الْأَذَى عَنِ الطَّرِيقِ صَدَقَةٌ. Removing harm from the path, even of an animal, is a charity. You come to the masjid, you see a bunch of stuff in front of the door. Isn't a harm? Just harm to look at it. My dear brothers, this is the masjid. The role of the masjid. We need to activate it. We need really to support it with many institutions. It's not mine alone, it's your job too. And then coming from here, anyone who has a project, wants really to help the community with, let's come and discuss about it. I am here with many brothers to support those projects. I am here, inshallah, with many of our brothers to do whatever we can do for our community. Then everyone has to come forward. Wallahi, you are, as Muslim, full of power. Just if you do realize that. You are by yourself an ummah. But you need to believe in yourself. You need to have the will to change. You need to have that will within yourself. Say, I'm going to make it. You've been created for the universe, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Indeed, O Muhammad. It means indeed you Muslim. Because you and me, we are followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Indeed, O Muhammad, we have sent you not but mercy to all mankind, including the non-Muslims. All mankind has to benefit from your Muslim in this land. And everything starts from the message, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength and the ability to understand what we are really facing as challenges. And I tell you at the end, inshallah, let me end up with this. We have really difficult days are coming. Really difficult days are coming. And the only community and only people who will stand in front of this difficulty is those whom they will be able to set up clean, healthy community. And you cannot set up clean, healthy community if you don't set up clean, healthy masjids. And to do and to be able to achieve clean, healthy masjid, you need to have the courage with the ilm, and you'll be able to do it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us, forgive us, make us among the true followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
حي على الصلاة